the situation with Anthony Joshua being out in the States, gym hopping, trying out various different trainers, picking the brains of various people. What have you made of it, Gareth? Obviously, we've asked Dillian, we've asked Dan Raphael. What have you made of it all?
I think Anthony Joshua is a guy who likes to soak up information like a sponge. He's been quite insular in his boxing career in the last 10 years because he's been with Rob McCracken since about 2010, and obviously Tony Sims as well, but Rob McCracken was always in the background as well. I think, you know, I mean, I advocated it myself, like, go to the American gyms. There's so much knowledge out there. There's Puerto Rican styles and African American styles, street boxing styles, Mexican styles, Irish American styles, slugging styles. There's so many styles of fighting in America. Go to an American gym for a while and just work on yourself. You said it in the break. Mentally, he's got loads to work on at the moment. There's nothing wrong with him physically. It's just getting over that Ruiz defeat properly.
I think it's earlier than that, me. I think it's Klitschko.
Maybe it's Klitschko, but that's the kind of fighter that he needs to get back to. I was just pulling up Carl Froch's record here. I spoke to Carl Froch about this when we were in Newcastle last week. Carl was working for Sky, and we were obviously doing the broadcast there on the Newcastle card. Savannah Marshall, Chris Eubank, so on. Huey Fury. When Carl had 13 world title fights in a row. I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's about 13 world title fights in a row. I covered all those fights, and I remember he lost to Mikkel Kessler. Very close fight. Actually, I didn't go to that one because there was some kind of weird cloud in the sky. He went on a private jet and he was jinxed by it all. There was an ash cloud. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he went over to Herning, Denmark to fight. He lost that fight. He didn't drop Rob McCracken. He also lost 3 fights later to Andre Ward in the final of the Super Sixes. Andre outboxed him. Pound for pound fighter, arguably the number 1 in the world when he left, pound for pound, left the sport as a 2-weight world champion. And then he had 5 brilliant wins afterwards. He came back against Lucien Boutte, who was in his corner, Rob McCracken. It was the night it reignited under Eddie Hearn. And then he had 3 amazing fights. The rematch with Mikkel Kessler at the O2, which was amazing again, won that one, and beat George Groves twice. I think Rob McCracken knows about plan changes. They knew in the second fight with George Groves how to make adaptations. I think Joshua will make his mind up. He might have met someone in America that really got in his head. It could be Ronnie Shields, as we were talking about with Dan Raphael. It could be Virgil Hunter. Robert Garcia is a good bet. He's never trained a heavyweight, by the way, Robert Garcia. And as far as I can remember, not to world championship level anyway, but he's had an array of great stars, but smaller weights. Probably corrected on that now, but I can't remember him having a heavyweight world champion. And I just think that Joshua has so much respect for Rob McCracken. I don't think he'll leave altogether. I think he'll keep him as an advisor in the corner. But there are too many voices. There's too many voices there in his entourage.
Too many people saying yes, in my opinion, mate.
Yeah,
exactly. I think he needs to cut that team right down. He needs to get rid of some of those yes men. I don't think this is a Rob McCracken problem. I really don't. I think this is a problem that's going on in between AJ's ears. He needs to go and find the dog. The guy that fought the likes of Dillian White, the guy pre-Klitschko, the guy that went in there and was an absolute wrecking machine. Go and find that guy, and then you've got yourself a chance against Alexander Usyk. I still think it's a tough chance, but you've got a better chance if you can go and find, and this is going to sound cheesy, that eye of the tiger. It's as simple
Absolutely.
as that.
Look, there's Anthony Joshua. You looked at him before the Ruiz fight and before the Ruiz rematch. And, you know, I can remember describing several times one of the greatest finishers we've ever seen. When he's got someone hurt, you are not going to stop the guy. He's going to bulldoze you. People have learnt to punch with him and that there are holes in him. But I really, truly believe that, yes, Usyk, similarly to an Andre Ward, or similarly to an Andre Ward for a Carl Froch, he's an incredibly clever fighter. But we saw in 2 rounds during that fight, rounds 5 and 6, what Joshua was capable of against Usyk. We didn't see one combination thrown by Joshua on the night. And if he can just come forward, be aggressive, get rid of that gun shyness, I think he's got a great chance in the rematch.
He has to be prepared to put himself at risk. And once he can get over that situation, once he can get into the mentality of putting himself in a place of risk, then he's got a chance of beating Alexander Usyk. Until he can get there, he has no chance.